Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Market Monitor live stream where Tevis and I are going to take a look at stocks, at the pricing while markets are open. Tevis, how you feeling?
You named the show that you asked me to join 30 minutes ago?
This is the Market Monitor live stream, yeah.
I'm feeling good, man.
I want to show you something that might blow your top off.
All
okay?
Right.
Okay. If we take a look here, markets are doing all right. Okay. S&P up, happy days. NASDAQ sort of stagnant across the board today. But if we take a look at IWM across year to date down against the S&P 500 benchmark, but full year, it's actually up. The S&P is up 39.35%, and the in IWM, the Russell 2000 is up 45.7%.
Yeah.
So how are you playing this?
I mean, look, Sofi is my second largest position, and HIMS is, I bought more HIMS this morning. So Lemonade I've been buying, and that's up 22% today.
I was going to say I am watching. The two biggest things on my watch list right now on the day are HIMS and Lemonade. That's above a lot of the crypto plays and everything. The two biggest ones are HIMS and Lemonade. So It's honestly like everything that you bought a year ago still has the Kramer effect, and you're terrible at this. But the new stuff, you're killing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to get to Christmas already so we can do another gift exchange and I can just get over the Unity bullshit. And give
Unity is still down like 50% since I bought it. I'm not letting go of that.
Brutal.
It's down on the day. I mean,
so I did record a video today.
Yeah.
And I was in the process of editing it when Tanner reached out to go on the stream. And the video is going to be titled, it's going to be out probably like 30 minutes after this finishes, where I go through all of my trades today. And the video is titled something like, I deployed 200K into the market today, because that's what it ended up being. But it's money that I got assigned on a couple things last week. But, you know, I had QQQ got assigned. I had Broadcom got assigned. I had Tesla got assigned. I had TSLL got assigned. That's Sofi I rolled and I actually closed. So you'll be happy to know, Tanner, I actually closed out all of my covered calls on Sofi. So if it continues going up, then it's not on me anymore. Okay, I'm not the reason why.
This is not good news for me. That's good news for you. That's bearish.
I mean, the stock has not gone down yet, so I am happy. It was costly to close them out, but I more than made up that money in other in other means. I'm seeing the chat come through. But yeah, so Sofi, the reason why I closed them out is because I think it can go higher. I mean, I made a video a couple days ago basically saying that I think that this can hit 20 by the end of the year. I still stand by that. And yeah, I just didn't expect Sofi to be running as fast as it is. I thought about rolling and just doing 16s by the end of this week. So the premiums just weren't there for me to do that. So yeah, 16s by the end of this week are not out of the question, but I don't want to fuck around with Sofi anymore to sell covered calls on it.
Look at what you started getting into covered call. It's up 115% in the last 3 weeks or in the last 3 months. Sorry.
Yeah, it's up. Yeah, it's up quite a bit. So, I mean, I don't know. Y'all are welcome, or I'm sorry, depending on how you view that news. But I am doing covered calls on a bunch of other stuff. I don't want to give out the whole video away, but a lot of TSLL, and I'm going into the miners pretty heavy. So,
we'll see. The first time I ever bought Sofi was just under 1450, and we passed that during this run up in intraday, but not currently past it. So eventually it will actually be in a point where every single trade that I've ever made on Sofi will have been green I'm green on my total position. I'm about to double it once we hit 1460.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because back here, whenever it was like $6, is where like Ram and a lot of these bears were saying sell SoFi, go short SoFi, and everything. Look how that turned out for them. That's my victory lap. I won't continue, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said in the video that I recorded earlier today that this move is really nice, but I think it's even nicer because we've been sort of screaming into the void on SoFi for the past like 3 years, and you finally feel vindicated to some small degree. Where yes, this is not the end all be all, for SoFi. I don't think it's going to end the story at $14. There's still a lot more to come, but at least we don't look absolutely stupid when we're putting out these like $20 price targets and it stays at 7 all year long. Because I mean, I for one have definitely looked stupid on a lot of my calls, but I think that's just the nature of making calls. I mean, like I could totally play it safe and never post a trade, never post a portfolio value, never post anything, never post a sell. Like I think what you do is like playing it super safe, you know. There's people, we have hundreds of people watching, and probably a small percentage of them even know what your top five are because you've mentioned them like breadcrumbs all throughout, whereas like I'll post it on my pinned tweet on a monthly basis. And then I'll post when I want to sell stuff. I'll post, I think, this is going up. I think this is going down. I'll post like, hey, I have covered calls at this strike. And
It's
the
not
more
good for
you
your
do,
mental health.
it's not that. It's just like the more you do that, the more you're at risk of like eating shit from random unnamed people on Twitter who are like, you're a fucking idiot for doing this.
Not
Sorry,
only that though, but
Mhm.
you might think that they're right in a moment of weakness because you're not re-underwriting your positions.
Yeah, I mean, usually I do me, and I've been getting much, much better. Like I've been in the market for like since 2017, so what, 7 years now, and I've come a long way in terms of not making emotional decisions. I think if there's money to be made in this market, like I want to capitalize. And the covered call thing, like I want to pursue that regardless of like, hey, I'm getting assigned on a whole bunch of stuff because I'm doing it during a breakout rally. But I think that overall it's a good strategy. So I want to sort of follow that rabbit hole and see where it leads me because at the beginning, we're missing Ron. At the beginning of the year, I started this dividend portfolio and I want to explore that. And that served me very well. But, I think this could serve me better. So I'm just in it, you know, along the way. And I have 12,000 people eventually tuning in at some point of the journey to either say good job or say you're stupid. So,
You know what's funny is I just put out a video today, one that I was proud of. However, I should have done a live stream of it because I think whenever you have so many ideas that you want to talk about that the video is hard to put in like in a proper order. But
mhm.
I just put out a video this morning and I was like, sell Coinbase. This stock sucks. And then it ran 18% today. And I also called that as well. I said that they would do phenomenally
Mhm.
going forward. I just think that Robinhood's going to do a lot better over the long term.
Yeah,
But did you end up seeing that video? I think I told you my thesis.
I haven't watched it yet. You did tell me your thesis. I own. So hold on. Let me just. I'm not sharing. Okay. Let me just check my Coinbase position.
You
And
own
I'll,
Coinbase.
yeah, I own Coinbase. So Coinbase is 2% of my portfolio, and eventually I want to get rid of the whole thing, but I want to get rid of the whole thing once. Like my initial, and I've said this in videos, like even in the summer. I made videos like I think in August around, hey, this is where Bitcoin's going and this is how I'm going to play it. And in that video, I said, hey, I have miners and then I also have Coinbase and I want to be able to eventually sell more things into the rally and then obviously hold Bitcoin regardless of whatever happens. 320, I think, is good. I mean, it's going to get to that point where I'm eventually going to unload all of my Coinbase at some point or another this year, most likely, because I just think that there's, it's had a tremendous run, and I was buying Coinbase at like low 200s.
Yeah, up 241% currently on the year, and still running up like even in the last little bit. I mean, it's done a 73% move in the last 5 days. So it's doing phenomenally, but that's not also like that's seen across the board for some of these Bitcoin places. However, Block is seeing a run up today. It hasn't been seeing that recently. This is because they actually hold a lot of Bitcoin on their balance sheet, but it's not as much as people think. I think it's somewhere around like less than 2% of their overall market cap, but they definitely benefit from
up.
one of those positions.
Everything is up across the board, man. It's just like,
well,
I'll walk you through like my and again, I don't want to give out too much of the video that I just recorded, but like I'll share one trade with you, and I sent you the whole like notes of like all the trades I had today. But CleanSpark, that was one where I saw a post on X, and I even live tweeted this. Like I saw a post on X that said CleanSpark is going to be unhalted at 10:15 a.m. And immediately at 10:14 or something, I put a market order in for, what was it? Hold on, I have it here. 900 shares. So I put 900 shares market order. That got executed immediately at 10:15 at $15 a share. So about 13 grand in CleanSpark. The minute that it freaking opened, it opened at 16.50. And I was like $1,500 in profit in the green, like within seconds. And then I sold covered calls on CleanSpark, and I got about $400 in premium because I sold $19 covered calls for this Friday. And so I'm like, well, hell, like if CleanSpark hits $19 this Friday, that's 4 grand, like all in capital gains plus premiums that you make in a week. And so this is what I'm saying around like capitalizing on the crypto rally, which I really want to double down on, and then B, treating covered calls as a business, because people rag on you for being assigned, and I'm like, dude, I bought this like 4 days ago, and then I got assigned 20% higher, 30% higher, and I made premiums on it. Like, okay, cool. So I don't know. It's like I'm in CleanSpark, I'm in Marathon, I'm in Coinbase. I think those are it right now. Obviously in Bitcoin and Solana.
I can understand these miners because of the volatility whenever you're playing options on them, but I actually don't get them as long plays. Like I
they're not long
really
plays.
don't get it.
They're not long plays. They're derivative plays on Bitcoin, right? I don't want to put money into a wallet and actually buy Bitcoin. I don't really want to buy a Bitcoin ETF. But CleanSpark, I knew it was going to go up because it got halted. And from the time when it got halted until now, it was like 4 or 5 days. But Bitcoin went up like 10K over that 4 or 5 day period. And so CleanSpark, they own Bitcoin as an underlying asset, and they have like the highest or second highest hash rate, something like that. And so they're going to catch up to Bitcoin move. And that's what we're seeing. Like we saw Marathon. I mean, what is it up like 20% today? And CleanSpark's going to follow that as well.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think like I've always taken the approach, and this could be a wrong one. I hold the coins. I only hold 3. I hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. And actually it's in quite the reverse order. So I hold Solana as my biggest, Bitcoin as my second, and Ethereum is just a tiny, tiny play.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, I love the brokerage side, the exchange side. And it never made sense to me why that isn't as common of a trade play as something like CleanSpark. Like I get that, but like they'll benefit from having large increases because it's on their balance sheet and everything, and then they can go in and sell it, and then But
I mean, it depends, man, because like you get really convoluted the more you look into this stuff, because the thesis is that sort of Bitcoin is that rising tide, and all of these like miners, ETFs, whatever, like those are the ships, and Bitcoin's going to increase them all at the same time. But then, I mean, you could make an argument for the brokerage side. Like you could buy Coinbase just as easily as you could buy CleanSpark, just as easily as you could buy a shitcoin, and all 3 of them will go up on Bitcoin. But even within the miners themselves, like there's so much debate, which is, in my opinion, unnecessary, that they're like, oh, you should buy Riot, or you should buy Marathon, you should buy, whoever. And they try to determine them by like such small factors. And the reality is that whatever you buy, if you buy Coinbase, if you buy Robinhood, if you buy CleanSpark, if you buy, Solana, if you buy fucking Dogecoin, like Bitcoin is going to increase that position.
Yeah, and I just don't have the short term enough mindset to even consider it. I was in CleanSpark for like one very quick second, and then I was looking at my portfolio. I was like, "What am I doing?" And I sold it like just for very slight profit. And I was like, I don't know why I'm holding this. I feel like it's weird to hold a business that their profits or well, their take rate gets cut in half every 4 years.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, I think for me, like my mindset is shifting slowly, and you can see it in real time and the audience as well. And as a result of selling covered calls, because it was okay, I want to have a long term portfolio because I'm really bad at trading. And you could see that in real time that I'm bad at trading. But I think covered calls and treating it more as a business and collecting premiums has changed that mindset. It's made it more dynamic because I say to myself, okay, Tesla is your biggest position. Well, instead of that, how about I buy TSLL and I sell covered calls against that? And if TSLL falls, well, I have zero stress because I'm still bullish on Tesla. It's still my largest position. I would have still held it otherwise. But if TSLL rises and gets assigned, then who cares? Because I still have the underlying that I'm going to hold otherwise. And so I'm collecting cash flow every single week as a result of that. Same thing with CleanSpark and Marathon. Like I bought CleanSpark, I bought Marathon, I bought Coinbase. Bitcoin's the underlying that rises and raises and drops these three other positions. But for CleanSpark, for example, like I'm collecting $400, and that's cash in my brokerage account for 4 days, from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Great. And if CleanSpark goes to 19, then I get $4,000. Even better. And
yeah, but if it goes the other direction,
if it goes the other direction, it doesn't matter because I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin goes up, then CleanSpark's going to go up. And if Bitcoin doesn't go up, then great. I'm still holding CleanSpark. I can still sell against it. I can even sell at my original price. Like I can sell at 15 where I bought it at and just collect even more premium. And so this is what I'm saying. Like I'm not scared if it goes down because the underlying is something that I was going to hold anyways and I'm bullish on anyways. So
yeah,
why shouldn't I make some money along the way?
yeah. No, that makes sense. I definitely keep it much simpler in the approach, just buy and hold. And it feels weird during these times because like I looked at your plays today. It's this long list of things that you did today, and I didn't do anything. I'm just watching the portfolio and I'm like, sweet, cool. I have more money than I did yesterday. Actually more money than I've ever had. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, different strokes, right? Like whatever works for you. I don't know. For me, I held through all, 2021, and then we went through 2023, and I was so cash poor. It was just whatever money I could scrounge up from my actual day jobs that I could put into the market, and that was my liquidity, right? The net new funds. But this way, I think that it's more dynamic because one thing I've been doing as well is like I've been using the premiums to buy leaps on these same positions, and so now you have like little lottery tickets for all of these different companies, for TSLL, for CleanSpark, for Marathon. Do I need $400 in the brokerage right now? Probably not. So I might as well buy a leap or two leaps
You
depending
should
on
buy
what happens.
Palantir. Palantir seems to be doing well. You
Let's
should
not get ahead of ourselves, but I don't think I want to own Palantir, long term. Well, let me rephrase. I don't want to own Palantir long term at this valuation. So that one can get out of hand pretty quick. And plus, I don't know that much about it either. So, anyways,
$61 a share. 61.20 right now.
how do we have so many people watching us right now?
Market's still open.
Hmm.
We have Palantir. I keep looking at because I'm happy for everyone that's winning, but it's $140 billion company, by far the most expensive software company on the market. I don't know. That one honestly makes my eyes water whenever I watch it.
It's just whoever's buying Palantir at $60 is like buying it with an insane amount of baked in expectations for what they expect that growth rate to be. And
Yeah,
just put
and
so much pressure on the management team to execute. And like, sure, they can, but at the same time, like, Palantir was growing 30% in 2020, 2021. and then it fell to 13%, and that's eventually when I let go of it because I was like, okay, well, I see this growth rate that's falling, and now they're back up to 30% growth, and people are like, they just discovered fire, and I'm like, you're back to the growth rate you were 5 years ago. It's great
To
because
the
the
growth rate
trend.
that they had promised throughout this time, all the way to 2025, and did not achieve.
And don't get me wrong, I don't want to rag on Palantir because they're like a high key occult, but it's great because the growth rate is accelerating. But at the same time, like, I could buy HIMS instead. HIMS has an 80% growth rate.
Yeah. And then I'm what's crazy is like on days like today, I don't mind ragging on it a little bit. They made their money, so they can stand high. They have nothing to defend. But I'm hearing things even like from Roy. He's talking about how this is the next Nvidia. It's like Nvidia's been growing at steady triple-digit growth rates at like unbelievable margins, and people see it in a red today and they go, oh yeah, Nvidia's done. It's like, where do you think all this bullish momentum is going to lead for Nvidia? They're also going to benefit. Aside from some Chinese scares, they are going to do unbelievable things. 30% would be a disastrous year for Nvidia. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's I don't know. It's very funny.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like, TJ has this whole concept of like find your five. And the whole idea is to find, 5 stocks that you're really, really bullish on, that you wouldn't mind holding for the long term, and concentrate into those and then sell against those. But like his whole, system focuses on getting like 25% every year return minimum off of off of covered calls and cash secured puts per year. And so I think, like, for me, that's what I'm really doing, is trying to find what are the companies that I really want to hold over the long term. One of them is Tesla, one of them is Sofi, one of them is HIMS, and probably something around the Bitcoin trade, which is what I'm doing with the miners right now. And then I'm just cutting a lot of other stuff. Like, I'm just concentrating. And I feel like I want to be concentrated going into this next rally, because that was one of the mistakes I made last time, was not being, all in, quote unquote, on my high conviction picks. And that was one mistake. And the second mistake was like not booking any profits. And so I think that with this, I can do both of those things without really, thinking about it.
Okay, so explain to me why you're long-term bullish on Bitcoin, maybe crypto in general. I don't know. You haven't said much on Ethereum or.
We've had full episodes where I've talked about this, but I just think that, especially now with a president that's pro Bitcoin, you have more and more countries that are turning pro crypto, and it's just going to be a paradigm shift. And what is the percentage allocation you put? What is a level sizing on the bet that you put for this to be a paradigm shift? Because even if we don't have a world that operates off of cryptocurrency or off the blockchain, let's say in 50 or 100 years, well, for the percentage that I'm putting down, like, that's my insurance policy, essentially, to counter this unsustainable inflation, unsustainable debt that's being accumulated. And so it's just there's like tiers, right? Because on one hand, there's so many people in my life that have never invested a single dollar that they've earned, and they put it in a savings account, or they put it into, whatever, like the bank. And it like makes me really sad, because I'm looking at rallies like we have right now, and those people are going to get left behind. Those people are going to feel like life is more difficult for them because they can't capitalize. Whereas me and you, we can, because we're in the equity markets. It's a similar story, I think, with Bitcoin, right?
Dude, I'm not. I get the Bitcoin thesis 100%. That's not what I was asking about. I'm wondering if you're a Bitcoin maximalist, or if you're diversifying into alts.
No, well, I own Solana and Ethereum.
Okay.
I think eventually I want to consolidate more into Bitcoin. I would definitely want to get rid of the Ethereum, maybe Bitcoin and Solana, but I think I will eventually go straight just Bitcoin, and just keep it and not fuck around.
So
sorry, I don't know why I'm swearing so much today.
Yeah, that's a dock off your pay. So I'm just kidding. He pays my paychecks. But What about the brokerages? This I don't understand. So retail is going bananas right now. People are buying and selling like crazy. The higher the coin price, the more money they make because they make a percentage.
Yeah.
It seems like the most obvious play. Whether it's Coinbase or Robinhood, that seems cleaner to me than the cryptos. Or are you not looking for a clean trade and you want to get a little your hands dirty?
Coinbase is a trade for me. So I don't want to be holding Coinbase for a long time. But I want to, like, Coinbase will benefit off of the Bitcoin rally. And that's something that I want to eventually sell and use the proceeds to buy something else. So same with the miners, right? So
Do you have any indication of when you can possibly get out?
like I said, before the end of the year for me, but it really depends on Bitcoin. Like if Bitcoin keeps breaking all-time highs, then Coinbase is going to keep flying. But I think Coinbase, I wouldn't be surprised if it crosses 400 here in the next month or next 2 months or so. And yeah, that's the point where I'll probably cut loose some shares. I'll tier out eventually.
It's funny. I always tell this story, but Bitcoin, however, because I'm in dark mode, it's not looking great. Okay. Bitcoin sitting around $84,000. And I remember having a conversation with some family members of them talking about Bitcoin, about how it'll never come back whenever it was around like 20,000. And it's just, once again, good to see that these things are returning. And it's like, okay, well, if you have new technologies and things that, in my opinion, this is why I like Solana so much, like has real utility, that those things are really hard to get rid of. Like I don't see why they would go away other than some mass legislation or something like this. And that's seemingly not going to be the case. Because there's been some people with a lot of power that just seemingly don't have that in their favor. So I actually brought this up because there was some talk about Gary Gensler potentially not leaving, but this actually, or that this was just a rumor. It's a little bit more than a rumor. However, it's not like they're pressing papers just yet, but this is what people are thinking.
Again, I think you got to think thematically on these things. You have a president who is not only acknowledging that Bitcoin exists, but is pro Bitcoin and wants to be a leader in the Bitcoin that the US holds. Like, it's super bullish, man. And not only for Bitcoin, but I think the whole equities market. I mean, I think one of the reasons why we're rallying so hard is because you have more certainty today, right? You have more certainty in all those policies, what they're going to be over the next 4 years. And people were hedging their bets going into the election, right? They didn't know who was going to win. There was uncertainty. They were maybe sitting on the sidelines. And now that you have all that certainty, with the Fed also cutting rates, a lot of that money is flooding back in. It's no surprise why you're seeing, like pretty much every fintech in your watch list is up like double digits or close to it. It's a blanket thing. Money's just coming from the sidelines. And yes, we can talk about SoFi because I suspect that's why most people are here.
Yeah, we should talk about SoFi. And by the way, what would SoFi be at if we didn't actually get kicked out of crypto?
Man.
And everyone, I think, thought that crypto was such a small percentage of their overall earnings until we got out of it. And then the amount of accounts that came flooding out of SoFi Invest, I think, was way more than what people thought. Hundreds of thousands. So, yeah, hopefully. So let's go through some questions here. Ones that I've just been grabbing up since even before the stream started. He said, with new administration changes, could SoFi get back into crypto now that Gary Gensler should be leaving? This is not something that Tevis or I would 100% know, but the idea would be potentially, maybe, if there's new. Do you have something on this, Tevis, that I don't know?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, you're cutting a lot of the bloat out of the government, and you're going to be trying to increase efficiencies in that you have like more open stances in terms of how crypto is viewed by the government. And if you get looser restrictions on the banking sector with regards to crypto, then yeah, it can definitely be super bullish for SoFi, because the reason they can't be in crypto right now is because of the bank charter and the requirements on the bank charter. I mean, can it happen? Yes. Should you buy for that reason alone, or for that as a tailwind? Probably not, because if I had to put a gun to my head, put a percentage on what I think this can happen, it'd probably be like 10%.
Yeah, and probably quite a whiles away. I mean,
Yeah.
that is the hope, but we don't know actually what different changes are going to be made, so we can't make that for certain. So another one said, "How's the shorts?" So
Underwater.
underwater for sure. Literally every single last one of them is underwater.
Yeah.
Uh, that being said, there is an update on that coming tonight at 4 p.m. So Nasdaq's going to
Actually,
update.
hold on. It should come much earlier than that, because Fintel updates through the API, and they update. They get the Nasdaq number before we get the Nasdaq number. So let me see if it's out already.
They get the Nasdaq number before Nasdaq gets the Nasdaq number.
No, the Nasdaq updates it, and the API it gets updated like at noon ish, and then they post it on the Nasdaq site, like on the actual front end site, like at
All
4.
right. Well,
I don't
this
think it's
might be
out.
some good news then.
I don't think it's out yet. No, but I'll be looking at this because Fintel usually gets it at like earlier. I've posted it as early as noon, but usually around 2, because they get straight from the API.
Okay, good. All right, we'll keep an eye on that. And I
I
also
want
have
to
a
see how
running
many.
feed of everyone that messages me or any updates in the news, so we'll be able to see that.
I want to see how many people have actually covered, because that would be like, I think that's the number we're all wanting to see, right? Have we seen inklings of a short squeeze already, or are they doubling down, or is this number staying, somewhat the same? In which case, if SoFi keeps going up, then you're going to put even more pressure on those shorts.
Yeah, I mean, the last number that we got was before Trump even got, his election win. So my opinion is once that came through, there was massive covering.
Well, one other thing to consider is that this number that's going to come out today is going to be the October 31st number. So that number won't have included the rally to 14. And so we're still like 2 weeks behind.
Christian, we're at $14 a share. The squeeze could be happening.
Yeah.
I think you might be watching it.
Yeah, seriously, in real time.
But there could also be a long ways to go. I mean, we were at like 18% short. If the number comes out and it says 15%, 14%, it could still be a long ways to go. And SoFi, this is another thing too. I was gonna tweet about this, but the day that Trump, won his election, I bet SoFi's institutional phone for loans was just like out of those memes where they have two phones that they're like taking both orders and the, like I am so excited for Q4. I think that they're going to dominate their full year numbers. I think, 2025 guidance, as long as we can keep this up, like this level of momentum through November, December, that'll probably get SoFi to end up posting 2025 guidance pretty high. We'll probably see closes on Galileo contracts now that banks have clarity.
Yep.
Like, we've been talking about this, and everyone thinks, oh, you know what? SoFi bulls have been, discounting these bearish actions and then, pushing what they think the good news is going to be. And that, we've gotten that rashy bunch of shit forever. But now it's like, no, I really just think everything is going to do well. And financial services and Galileo and lending is looking like it's prime time. And that's right now.
Yeah.
And
Roy's in the chat, so we can get him on as well. Do a little impromptu SoFi weekly.
Yeah, let's do it. Here, I don't have. It's not going to be the same link, Roy. We tried to keep you out of here, so we changed the link and everything. We locked the doors, changed the locks.
Oh man, it's such a crazy time. Like everything at this, Tesla, SoFi, Bitcoin all at once. My portfolio is just, what the heck is going on?
I'm getting a pair of shoes sent to me from Robinhood.
Really?
Yeah,
that's super cool. Like Robinhood branded and everything.
it'll be stock market branded.
Super cool.
Roy got some as
there he
well.
is.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Decent, yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy, dude. Crazy. I was just talking about my Robinhood shoes.
Oh yeah, you got them ordered?
Yeah.
Are they as crazy as this rally?
Maybe not. I mean, this is nuts. So let's get your take. What are you seeing in this market that you're potentially, are you buying in? Are you trimming things? Did you sell your whole Palantir position? Did you trim Palantir? Did you sell a little bit of Palantir? How are you saving your Palantir position?
Honestly, I'll just have to roll the chunk that I want to save. I think the rest is probably just going to be gone, and I'll take profits on that. And that'll be about a third of the position in January at $55, and that's fine. It's good. It's not wrong to take profits. It's a good idea to do that too. No, I'm working. I've got like 10 minutes. So,
now that you will get assigned on some Palantir, Roy, and now that you're a YouTuber, that's perfect headline material. I sold my Palantir, something like that. Everybody's gonna flock to that video. Just saying.
Honestly, it'll get a lot of clicks, probably a lot of rage. But guys, and I'm not speaking to you, Tanner and Tevis, you guys know this, but if you're newer in the market, it's not wrong to take profits. And on stocks that I really want to hold on to, I have to be really, really overpaid to get rid of that. And that's where I am with Palantir. Like long term, phenomenal company, but there's other plays out there. I have a core position that I want to preserve basically no matter what. And I might just get to the point where I'm like, okay, I'll roll those calls out or just even buy back with some of the profits that I made just to preserve those shares and then just hold on to it. Probably not, though. I'll just probably just keep rolling.
Do we want to play a little game, Roy?
As far as Sofi, I've taken a little bit of profits. I've sold some covered calls. By the way, Tevis, what strike did you sell those for?
I closed my covered calls, so all I have are long calls on Sofi now.
So it's time to take profits.
Yeah, exactly. Rally's over, fun's over, guys.
Yeah. Roy, really quick, just while you were on Palantir, what do you think the market cap of Palantir is, really quick?
It's like 125.
140 billion.
Okay.
What do you think the market cap is of, I don't know, let's say Lockheed Martin, for example?
I think they probably passed it. Like they're moving up on that list of market cap.
They did pass it. 136 billion for Lockheed Martin. I mean, it's a cool company. This is bananas, guys.
Yeah, I mean, sort of. There's a lot going on behind them. I'm not going to say, hey, it's not expensive. There is a reason why I'm going to keep 2/3 of it. Like just whatever it takes, that's what I'll do. And if I have to buy in higher, average up, like whatever that is. But no, I don't mind taking some profits. Sofi is still, I think, undervalued, but not by as much as it was when it was trading at $7. When everybody was saying, "A opportunity cost. This is a horrible company going nowhere." I mean, they were wrong based just on the earnings, not because of the stock price momentum. The sad thing is, so many people need that stock price to be able to say, "Oh, okay, I guess I was wrong." And now they're FOMOing in. FOMO is a real thing too. But yeah, as far as what I'm doing, I've taken profit on pretty much most of my Bitcoin miners. I've taken some profit on Robinhood too. I still have Robinhood. Actually bought more PayPal. I bought more HIMS right before it ran up this morning. Like HIMS is just in a really good place. Honestly,
why take profits on Robinhood?
Because I sold covered calls. So no, but I have shares as well that I bought as well, so it's, but yeah, it's not because I'm not seeing where Robinhood is going. Like it's a phenomenal company, and I'm going to be very, very careful right now with covered calls. The only thing that I've sold covered calls on are now this week are positions that I'm okay. Just if they want them at that price, I think I sold it like $30 for, not $30, $40 for HIMS, I think. if him wants to shoot up from 20 something to $40 in a week, I will take profits. Accelera is like one that I've been careful of too. That I don't talk about much, but yeah, the miners, I'm completely out of miners. Actually, I have my Bitcoin, I have Ethereum, I have ADA. I think that there's probably more to run, but those are businesses I think of as pretty trash businesses, to be honest. And I just have them in my tax advantage accounts solely just to give me some exposure to the crypto markets. They more than doubled. Plus, I sold, covered calls against them and cash secured puts the other way. Made a lot of money. So yeah, Nubank. I actually bought more Nubank too. So
Nice.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
I think what's very cool is like, or people should keep in mind is that whenever you're looking at some of these companies, a lot of this run is multiple expansion, right? That people are seeing these companies for what they should be worth, and so they're getting an increase in their value, and SoFi is a large part of that as well. But then whenever you're looking at other companies like Coinbase and Robinhood, it's a little bit different because as the market is exploding, there really is fundamental increases in those businesses as they're expected to see more profits. So I'm a little surprised by the Robinhood trim. I think that it's kind of deserving.
yeah, it's not really because I wanted to. It's because after earnings, it flew up by like 40 something percent.
Yeah, but you could buy
I
back
didn't
in.
see that. So no, I still have. Let's see, it would be.
You're
It's about
essentially buying back all the profit from your strike price up until what it's trading at. So if you sell at like $25 Robinhood and it's at 30, then you're buying back that $5 in profit. Like that's what the premium is going to be.
Yeah, but
So
you're assuming that it's just going to retrace.
It might not. So what I think Robinhood right now is 7% of my portfolio. Maybe not because like my portfolio balance has changed a lot over the last week, which is great. But I like it there. I don't mind it at that percent. It wasn't a cut for any reason other than just selling covered calls at 20. I think 27 or 28. I think I had some of both. Ended up buying back some of the shares just immediately this morning before it spiked too much. And I've sold some cash secured puts as well. I'm not optimistic that those cash secured puts will be come back. So, but it is what it is. It's my Robinhood position is a lot larger. Basically, I had to look at it like this. My Robinhood position was significantly larger than HIM's, and it's significantly larger than Nubank. And those are two that I want to get up to a certain allocation. HIM's is actually where it needs to be now. And Nubank is still not where it needs to be. And they have earnings. In this kind of environment, if myself, I have cash now because of these selling out all the miners intentionally and then the covered calls on some of the positions. I have enough cash. I like having some cash here, but any position that I'm interested in getting into, I want to do it before earnings in this environment. If Nubank crashes down to like $12, so be it. I'll add more.
So let me ask you this, Roy, because I find it interesting because, one thing I did today was I bought a ton of HIMs, but I also doubled down in the miners. And the reason is because CleanSpark is finally getting to levels that it was back in August, yet Bitcoin is much, much higher than those levels. I remember CleanSpark pumped to like $25 in July, August because, Bitcoin hit 68K, something like that, or 73K. And then it faded back. It pulled back for a while and it finally now broke new all-time highs, and CleanSpark is only at, $16. So I doubled down into the miners because I think that there's a lot to run. You cutting the miners, was that like a conscious decision or did you just get assigned?
Both. I sold covered calls at a level that I'm like, I want out at that price. I don't care that it pumps. Miners are absolute trash businesses for the most part. I think that there are maybe one or two exceptions. They are dilution machines. I mean, it's not quite as much as Master Strategy, but they buy like personal jets and stuff. Just like, and a lot of the miners are pivoting, and you'll if you follow them closely. I don't know if you follow them closely, Tevis, or you just.
I follow a couple of them. I follow CleanSpark more than anything else. I've held that for a little while now.
So Cypher is one of the better ones, I think. I covered calls at 7, and I'm like, hey, that's I don't know, that was up like 250% for me, something like that, not even including premiums. And I was good exiting there. Cypher is pivoting into the data center business. You have others that are pivoting into energy businesses. The reason for the pivot is the miners, they're terrible business models. Like they really are.
They need to find a real business.
I mean, that's basically it. For me, they're just swing trades. They're never long-term holdings. I think that it'll probably pump higher, but I have to realize, like, I've been burned. What was it, back in 2021 on Mara? Like I still made money, but I left so much on the table. And I just have learned with miners, like they are just a swing trade for me. They will never be a permanent position for me ever. IRIN is maybe like a little bit better run than some. So, but even then, I don't want that. Like long term, I have Bitcoin, I have Ethereum, I have ADA. I actually sold my Doge because that was a swing too. But no, I think that you might make some good money off of it. There's nothing wrong with trading and speculating. They're trash businesses. They really are. I know some might think otherwise, and that's fine, but it's very, very cyclical. I think the cycle ends probably in 2025. And then we'll go back into a crypto winter. But yeah, I probably could have made more. I'm not good at that sort of thing. And I was happy with a 2.5x on when they were basically written off. And they're so volatile, Tevis. They're not even, they're kind of correlated to Bitcoin, but it's in the same way as Robinhood. Like there's a correlation there, but there'll be times when Bitcoin pumps and they don't, and vice versa. Like when they're just falling and Bitcoin is just fine. So yeah, they just tend to be traded on narrative and sentiment more than anything else. And sentiment is very high. So for me, it's a good time to take profits.
Yeah. I mean, it's a trade for me as well. I think Bitcoin's going higher, and I think it's going to go higher in an aggressive way this year, like before the end of the year. And I just want to capitalize on that. And I'm selling covered calls on them. So, I could be fully out of the miners this week, but if not, then I definitely want to be fully out of the miners by this year, like before the end of the year.
Can I ask you guys, in this cycle, where do you think Bitcoin is headed? Right now, we just hit 85,000. Do we get 90? Do we get 95? Yeah, it hit 85.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Are we getting to 100?
Over 100K, probably 120, 125K. It wouldn't shock me because that's a high psychological level that it takes a couple of times to break it, and it may take a chunk of 2025. But every indication, almost every indication, there's one that's not, is that Bitcoin likely, it goes through winter moments, right? Crypto does. And that's probably going to be 2025. But I think that there's quite a bit of run up. Usually the end of the year, especially after an election, are very, very good for crypto. It's seasonal too. Now, the one thing that is giving me pause is that institutions are seeing it as legitimate. And then you're seeing, like you probably saw the news article, Tanner, that Detroit is now accepting crypto payments for taxes and fees. And do you know who the processor is for that?
No.
PayPal.
Oh, cool.
Largest city in America that accepts crypto as payments. So, that was an announcement last week. So, like, there's more and more legitimacy. Like, it's always been legitimate, but as more people see it that way, of course, there's higher speculation, and we're not going to have as much volatility. So, I could be wrong about the cycle ending and winding down some point in 2025, but the way I'm with crypto, I'll just keep holding the crypto. Doesn't matter what the price is.
Yeah.
The miners I'll trade in and out of. So right now,
exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy to sell and buy more PayPal.
We're seeing just slight pullbacks midday. So SoFi is now at $14.02. Tesla's at $3.40. HIMS is not letting up, $28.30. Coinbase not letting up, $327 per share. Here, let me just throw up the screen. We can all take a look together.
Why aren't you in HIMS yet, Tanner?
I'm not a customer, unlike you guys. So the hair loss, I get it. Like it's okay, but you guys are getting older. I'm young. I just don't see it as, to be very real, I just haven't even looked at it all that much.
Yeah, man. That mustache is thriving. I can see.
Yes, you can, brother. Don't even do this to me. Look, Look at it. I'm just blonde, dude. Don't do that again. Don't do that again. I'm allowed to throw insults at you. I don't like it when it goes the other way back around. Yeah. So, but Robinhood, someone was saying that they think Robinhood is very expensive right now. If you actually just here, let's go and trail back to their IPO. They're actually just right around their IPO price, which was about $34 per share.
Market cap, though. Market cap is quite a bit higher.
Yes, well, because of dilution, but not that much higher. Like, it's not like we're 2 times higher or something. It's probably like 15% higher or something like this.
I'd have to look again. I think that's wrong. I think that there was substantial dilution on the front end right after IPO. It was planned, but I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah, I can get some numbers real quick. I'll just check a chart. But that being said, they have half the headcount that they did previously and way more customers. I think that one is amongst some of the no-brainers in this run right now.
Oh yeah,
like,
they're big winners.
They're going to be a massive benefactor of crypto, and like even some of these alts that are moving like Doge, it's like they have the most amount of Doge on their platform. I think even higher than Coinbase. So
I feel like so many people will not buy Robinhood for the crypto side. Like, I could be wrong in that, but I just feel like there's more direct plays. If crypto exposure was your main reason for buying something, Robinhood is not the first thing that comes to your mind. You're either going to go for a miner or an ETF.
I'm trying to buy the best business. This is the same thing why Coinbase is running, and I don't care. It's like they're going to benefit from the Jesse Dows of the world who are looking for exposure to this specific play. But I think it's about, from my investment thesis, which company am I buying the best business of? And so it's not just crypto that's running. There's going to be a ton of options contracts that are trying to play this rally and get leverage on this. And soon we're going to have one, the election betting, which is going to see some benefits there. They essentially blew out what Kalshi did on their original, on their single election bet thing, and they posted it 7 or 10 days before the election. And then, add that all up with crypto and equities trading and futures that are coming around. It's like, I just don't see how they lose.
And let me add, the SEC is going to be getting rid of, or SEC won't be, but Gensler is not going to be over the SEC. I don't think he was under either administration, but Trump said he's repeated this a number of times. He's firing Gary Gensler on day one. Dan Gallagher may be brought in. He's one that is at least rumored. He is the chief legal officer of Robinhood. So the names that I've seen mentioned are all very, very favorable towards crypto. And if you remember Robinhood, like they they ended up having to remove Solana, ADA, and Matic from their platform, just because of regulation and scrutiny. They actually offer more crypto overseas in Europe, which is heavily regulated, than here in the United States. And all that's because of stupid regulation that we have. I mean, even SoFi Invest, there was no fundamental reason why they had to divest from crypto except because of regulation. And as that changes, I think that Robinhood benefits phenomenally from that vector as well in crypto. So even though I think the run will end in 2025, they'll do well. It's not, if Robinhood is only a crypto play, I'd be like, well, I'll actually be happy with exiting. And I'm not. I'm looking to get back in, and I'm happy with what I have, but I want a little bit more.
I highly suggest people check out my video after this on why I'm betting big on Robinhood over Coinbase. I just saw SR post here. Does Robinhood actually own an exchange, or do they use Coinbase? Well, that's about to change in early 2025. They've already acquired one of the original OG cryptocurrency exchanges, which is going to bring them into institutional trading, but it's also going to open them up to an exchange. Bitstamp has 117 supported assets. You don't think that they're going to be getting into this? Staking, lending, all the things that Bitstamp gets into, and they just got approved for derivatives. So the gap between what Coinbase offers and what Robinhood offers is closing quickly. And if you want the most out of your dollar, buy cryptocurrency on Robinhood. They charge about like what is it? 1/4 the amount that Coinbase charges in the last quarter. And that's not even including how people are lowering their fees from Coinbase One. Like it's just it's silly.
Yeah, I think there's actual. I put this in my video as well on Gary Gensler being removed from the SEC and the implications it would have on, of course, Robinhood, certainly, SoFi, PayPal, and Coinbase. And I actually see it as a bit of a negative overall for Coinbase. So I think Coinbase is good. I don't think it's amazing, at least here. Like you probably make money on Coinbase. I just think you make a lot more on Robinhood. I think you called that out, Tanner. You called my attention to it, so credit to you. But I think you're absolutely right.
Well, I'm glad that feels good. Anything else that we want to touch on? We've been going for 55 minutes. Do we want to go through a couple other prices, see how the market is doing intraday?
What are you guys thinking for this rally? Because, a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about is, does it sustain into 2025 and what's going to happen over the next several months? But if you just go on SoFi's chart or Tesla's chart, we've been seeing nonstop green days for, coming up on a week now, or ever since the election, I'll say, and green days in a big way. So I'm just wondering, when are we going to get this pullback? Are we going to get a pullback? And what's that going to look like? Is it this week, next week? What do you guys think?
I'm glad you asked because I have a video on the subject. If this rally,
YouTubers, all of you guys.
But no, seriously, I think the rally is for real. There's a lot of factors between certainty, between regulation, between capital tax amounts,
New all-time highs,
and it just. Oh wow, that's cooking.
Like
good
literally
job.
Nobody cares about chat for shifting.
But I mean, a pullback will happen at some point. This rally could continue to be sustained through the end of the year. It tends to be a little bit stronger towards the end of the year. If it does, we're probably looking at a pullback here in January. Don't be shocked in that. And there is a little bit of a headwind too, depending on how serious Trump and Elon Musk, if he's in Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, are about cutting government spending. If they do that aggressively, and it sounds like Musk wants to, I don't know that Trump actually wants to or not. We'll see. That could actually be a headwind against the stock in the market for a little while, although it's still the absolute right thing to do. So, pullback's coming. I would guess, if it keeps going like this every day, we're looking for a pullback maybe around Thanksgiving, a little bit after, especially as probably Thanksgiving week. There tends to be a little more weakness in the market those days too, just because people are off enjoying their holiday. So there's less volume. We'll see though. I mean, there's a lot going for it. Like a lot of this rally is justified.
Yeah.
Marquetta trying to make a recovery. All right, sorry.
But throw up in phase.
Ooh, yeah. What's Enphase at?
I ended up buying just 2 cash secured puts today. I might end up buying some more here this next week. This one is weak. The market is selling it off. It's very, very cyclical. I'm interviewing somebody that's been in Enphase for a long time. I've been talking with some folks that are in the solar industry as well. I think the market's getting it wrong, but yeah, this isn't a everything up rally. There are names on my watch list, including Enphase, that are just getting beaten down. Celsius is another one right now. I think Celsius. Yeah, I'm not in that long term. I was in it for a swing and I got out with a loss, and I'm fine with that. But I don't know, man. It's I actually kind of prefer that we're seeing some names have weakness, just because it's not just crazy momentum where every single junk thing out there is going up, because it's not.
Yeah, I mean, Celsius also missed their numbers. It was expected for them to miss because of the Pepsi news, but that's not been doing well. I'm not adding to Celsius right now. I probably will at some point ahead of their next earnings, because I think that the sell-off was overdone, but I want to let it play out for the immediate short term before I do that.
That's kind of surprising, that Upstart is down 2%.
I mean,
So
so one of the
up
factors
50%
too
like
is,
2 days ago.
yeah, when it runs so much, like that's one of the things SoFi is going to be hitting as well. The RSI is probably in the 80s at this point with SoFi. When it goes over 70, of course, that's overbought. Tends to matter less being overbought in a bull market.
RSI is at 50.
Pardon?
Oh, I guess on
No, you know, look at the daily RSI is usually what people look at.
Yeah,
So
daily
look year to date and just go on the daily time frame. That'll put the RSI at
83.
Yeah, it's high. Weekly also is looked at oftentimes. Monthly doesn't really matter that much. Most people don't look at that, but it's pretty hot. So it's just needs to cool down a bit at some point. That may not happen until past the end of the year, though. So
We'll see. I mean,
And
so
it was up 326% in the last 365 days. Sheesh.
yeah, and there's more on there. More way to go.
Oh yeah. Man, I was
If you guys think it's going to like 40, I mean, you're calling for well, I mean the yearly part will switch, but if you bought in the $6 ranges, you're looking for a 5x essentially.
I mean, he already got it on Palantir this year, so why shouldn't he get it again? But like we both bought it in like August, September, so
yeah, my average on HIMS is like 18, I think, right now. So it's not a 5x anytime soon, unless things go really crazy. In which case, I mean, that's fun, but I'd be sitting a lot of cash if we see a 5x on HIMS in the next year.
What do you think about this pump today, Roy, on Block?
I mean, everything's kind of pumping. So, and I think that, part of this too is I've never hated Block as a company. I just think that the CEO is very mediocre. And the company itself is good. I even commented on somebody last week. I was like, they were showing some charts and graphs. I'm like, yeah, it's probably undervalued here. There's, some very good things. They were showing like the gross profit. I think that's a term. I don't like that. I don't like them using that for Block at all. But like the actual net profit, like it's telling of the direction of the company. It's in a good place. But it's still weird. Like with Jack there, I have no interest at all. There are far better companies like Robinhood to invest in. Block never made sense, but traders can make money on it, and long term it tends to follow PayPal anyway. So I figured it would bounce up at some point.
Yeah. I can't believe the fintech push right now. I mean, honestly, feels good to own a show called the Fintech Frenzy, but
yeah,
a little bit pigeonholed to one name, but that name's doing well. So
it really was weird how long the bear market in fintech lasted. Outside of a few names that outperformed, like the market hated everything fintech for a long time, much longer than it should have. But that was an opportunity for us.
Do we want to wrap? It's been an hour.
I need to go, so I'm happy with wrapping.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. If you want to reach out to any of these members of the panel here, right underneath their name, you can see where you can find them on X or YouTube, any of these things. So
I'll also, keeping in the spirit of promotions, have a video later today talking about the trades that I made.
Tell us the covered calls that you do. That's even more helpful.
It's included in there. So technically this video is alpha for some people, I guess.
Oh,
if you believe in astrology.
I was actually telling someone, you might have missed this comment, but I tagged you, was that, they're like, is this rally justified? I'm like, my hyperbole thesis is Tevis getting into selling covered calls.
Yeah.
Like we're going to the freaking moon, like SPY, to like 8,000 in the next year.
Dude, it's like, and people have been tagging me on stuff, like random stuff. And then somebody commented, and I think this is the thing that triggered me. He was like, "Poor Tevis," and I'm like, "Poor Tevis, I'm making more money like this week than I've ever made before, man. What do you mean, poor Tevis?"
Yeah, I mean that's the nice thing about covered calls is either you win or you win. It just you might miss out on some things, but you're going to win. So
yeah, and that's the good thing too, right? Is like, Tevis can have all these plays and everything, and he can show off. Well, he's not even showing off. It was kind of a light day worth of purchases, 200,000. I mean, I thought you would have been buying Tevis, but he's got the money. He can afford to lose some on some trades. Opportunity cost is just, if he needs a bump in in his life. He's just going to go on another vacation across the world, just enjoying himself. Tevis, where are you going next?
Thanks, Tanner. I don't own a house, Tanner. You do.
I know I'm stuck. What do I have that you don't? I've got this wife and this house and all these things that are holding me down.
Yeah,
You,
a dog and a cat.
yeah, all these things, these things that are pulling me down, that are worth like that are restraining me. You're free. You can do whatever you want. So, hopefully Tevis gives us more insight into what he's going to be covering for SoFi next, and then that way we'll know what to trade on. But until next time, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time. But bye for now.